right, here we go. Today is day 28 of the 31-day individuation process for the month of October. Very simple. Today is a question that is kind of like profound, but at the same time, it's simple and it has everything to do with the whole idea of being the main character of your story, right? So this is the idea that you are the creator of your reality, and I would argue that it's less of an idea and much more of a reality. so, um, the question is, do I believe that I am the creator of my reality? Um, if so, what does that mean for me? And if not, why? Now, let me explore first the if so, what does that mean for me? Um, so here's the way that I see it. You are either the main character of your story, or you are the cameo in somebody else's, right? That's for the first part. The second part being, if not, why? Now, some people live life from a standpoint of things happening to them, right? So they're a victim. And I'm doing the best I can to tie this into, um, individuation and all that stuff. It can be a little bit kind of difficult, I guess the word is, just because there are different concepts that you have to work with here. But let's focus on the main theme of this. There are different states of consciousness as you evolve in terms of awareness, right? A lot of people think that life is happening to them. They are victim consciousness, right? When you expand beyond that and realize that, yeah, you grew up with trauma and everything, you don't have to look at it from that standpoint anymore. You evolve out of that and you realize that life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you, right? And so this is really that vibe of, being the creator of your own reality, right? And you are, because the way that you experience life is entirely determined by how you think, feel, and act. And if you can really understand that, it changes the dynamics of everything. But what's been really interesting for me is that I've spent a lot of time and energy in the whole, like, cameo mode, right? And that means, like, I was just, like, I don't know, an object in other people's lives. It's very interesting to look at it that way because it's strange at the same time, also to admit it. But looking at the whole thing of, why somebody might not think that they're the creator of their reality is because these people are probably the people that believe that life happens to them and that it's out of their control and that they get little to no say in what happens in their life, which is just not true. But a lot of people are vibrating there. Their frequency, their energy is there. It's tuned into that because, they have this story from the past of woe is me, all these different things happened to me, and, the world hurt me, and, all that kind of stuff. But when you get beyond that and you realize that, like, oh, well, the hurt that you experienced growing up never had anything to do with you, and when you can finally separate yourself from that, have the necessary healthy responses to the things that happen to you, and allow yourself to actually experience these healthy emotions, everything changes. Your awareness of everything changes. Your energy shifts. It's just the way that it is. But people who struggle to see themselves as the creator of their own realities are usually the people who have been sold belief systems that never had anything to do with them, that were all about, insufficiency and lack, and you're not good enough, and this, that, and the other. And I understand. I understand all of it. I have receipts of many situations and experiences myself. I understand how this stuff works. But it's very interesting when you look at it from the standpoint of, okay, well, if you don't see yourself as the creator of your reality, why don't you? Right? And that's very important to look at because if you don't, it's important to understand why you don't, because it could be something as, I'm going to call it simple even though it's not really simple, but something like, trauma and the projections from other people, right? You can be led to believe your entire life that you should not put yourself first, that you do not deserve good things, all these different things that limit your experiences of life. You can be sold all these beliefs. And it really causes you to see yourself in a limiting way and to experience life in a limiting way. So it's just very interesting. It's really very interesting. And when you actually put in the effort to like recognize, um, here's the craziest thing. When I really look at it, I'm like, oh, okay, that's wow, right? So when you look at somebody with low self-esteem, right? I would argue that that low self-esteem is really just a result of years and years of conditioned projections of belief systems, right? This person was not born thinking that they're a piece of shit or feeling like shit about themselves because they were taught ideas like that, right? They were conditioned into that through probably parents projecting their shit onto them. And it just like over time, instead of expanding them and like growing them and like opening them up to like, just potential and possibility and, expansiveness and limitlessness, it actually contracted them and brought them back more and more and more to something smaller and smaller and smaller every time. And when you recognize that and you understand what it means, it changes everything, because you can actually disidentify from the small person who was contracted instead of expanded. And then, after you uncurl and everything, you're like, whoa. Right? And it changes everything, because then you see things for what they are. Like, oh, never mind. Everything that I was told about myself never had anything to do with me. It was all just bullshit. Belief systems. Noise. And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy when you can have that understanding, because when you finally step into the energy space that is being the creator of your own reality, being the main character of your story, and that you can rewrite, you can fucking set hold on, Chris. You can fucking set on fire the script that was never working, and you can just rewrite an entire story. Or, write a new story. That's just the way that it is. In every single moment of life, you get to decide how you're going to live. What you're going to think, what you're going to feel, how you're going to behave. Every single moment of life is the potential for a conscious new decision. And that's just the way that it is. And so that's what I see when I think about, or I should say that's what I think about when it comes to pondering this idea of, creating your own reality, because it's real. It's 100% real. You are far more in control of your experiences of life than you think you are. And anyone who tells you otherwise is just caught up in the bullshit ideas that other people have sold them. And that's really just the way that it is. So ask yourself, do I believe that I'm the creator of my reality? If so, what does that mean for me? If not, why?